Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Marilyn Kroplick, President of In Defense of Animals. Welcome to our new online show, Vegan Cooking and Food Psychology, hosted by Chef Kathleen Kastner and myself. Carnivores Anonymous is presenting the show, and it's a free 12-step program that I developed to help you maintain optimum health, lose weight, reverse chronic illness, tackle food addiction, and save the lives of animals while adopting a plant-based lifestyle. You can join this national program at www.carnivoresanonymous.org. Today, I have a very exciting step for you. It's the fourth step of our 12-step program. And now I'd like to turn the show over to my co-host, Chef Kathleen, who will introduce our featured recipe for today. Kathleen?
Thanks, Dr. Marilyn. Hi, everyone. Today we're going to make soft and tender peanut butter cookies, vegan, of course, and gluten-free by the Blissful Basil website. So I'll be back in a minute to make them with you. Thanks.
Okay. Well, today we're taking a look at step 4. And step 4 is making a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Before we get into the inventory part, I'd like to discuss the core problem that we're going to be looking at, and that is our own character defects. And I'll give you an example of a character defect, 2 examples. Our first one is someone who is frightened, so frightened that they completely depend on a stronger person for protection and guidance. And they fail to meet their own life responsibilities with their own resources. And they never grow up. They become helpless, really. And if the protector were to die or flee, once more, they'd be left alone and they would be still even more afraid. So that's like one very dependent kind of character defect. The second case study is a person with a self-righteous grandiosity. This person probably would be offended even if I suggested that they take a moral inventory, denying character defects. Oh, most likely, they would blame someone else, their spouse, for their obesity or food addiction. Both of these people with these character defects are kind of typical of what we see around. A lot of people have what we call character defects. It's not unusual. But in our fourth step, we are going to look at these character defects, and we're going to take a personal inventory of ourselves. It's a process of looking inside ourselves. And we're going to look at how our character defects generate fear. And what does this fear stem from? It stems from our instincts. We fear our instincts will not be satisfied. Food, shelter, power, possessions. So we covet possessions, sex, or power and become angry when our instinctive demands are threatened, when the ambitions of other people seem realized while ours aren't. Have you ever really taken stock of yourself, where you are and where you're going, looking at your assets and your liabilities? Well, a lot of us haven't, unfortunately, because pride and fear probably prevent you from looking within yourself. Fear says something like, you don't need to look there. Let bygones be bygones, if you've ever heard that expression. Know, however, that pride and fear are not really so real. They're mere boogeymen, nothing more. So today, you're going to be courageous, and you're going to embark on this step 4. And we're going to have an adventure together in self-discovery. although I know you initially might feel overwhelmed by the enormity of the task, and you might notice some procrastination or some false pride, thinking that these fears, but I'd like you to think of these fears as kind of like termites that will devour the foundation of your life if you let them. So look at the boogeyman. I'm going to ask you to take a look at that. Pinpoint the behaviors and feelings that bother you and bring them into consciousness instead of allowing them to nag at you from the shadows of your awareness, sabotaging your own progress. So inventory for this step needs to be fearless and a searching inventory. What do we mean by searching? It means that we're not superficially jotting down generalities. We're getting into a lot of detail. So set a good amount of time so you can probe these yourself, probe inside yourself, and record specific examples. Take stock fearlessly, knowing you have the support and love from your higher power. You know, as meat eaters, we continuously bury our problems. You know, when we were meat eaters, but there's still so many meat eaters out there, and they're not facing themselves and their negative emotions of anger, hurt, shame, fear, guilt, resentment, and arrogance. Instead, they may tell themselves and others that all is well. I just love eating meat. And wow, processed foods, cookies and cakes, they're great. And dairy, I don't have a problem with that. Cheese is fabulous. What they don't realize is that food only temporarily dulls the pain. It's not a permanent solution. It only obscures the issues and keeps us from understanding the real problem. So that is the reason why we're doing this inventory, because we're going to look at the real problem. And so in step 4, what I'd like you to do is to look at what needs changing in yourself. Look at our old ways haven't worked. You know it. We want to discover how we've been sabotaging ourselves and exchange our liabilities for assets. So let's take a look at several components of this: honesty, resentment, false pride, self-responsibility, and looking at our strengths and weaknesses. First, honesty. To succeed in the Carnivores Anonymous program requires rigorous honesty. In the past, you've tried to fool yourself and others. To recover from meat, dairy, and processed foods requires that we tell it like it is. We be honest with ourselves. Dishonesty is part of the pattern of eating meat. If you look at it this way, it's dressed up neatly in cellophane with no trace of blood. Cruelty is hidden from us in that neat little package that you buy in the grocery store. We fool ourselves that we're not eating a dead sentient being who has greatly suffered in a factory farm, or what we call CAFOS. Or do you pretend to yourself that you're a vegan, but still eat an occasional hamburger? I want you to be honest. Are you hiding? Are you making up alibis, justifying, rationalizing, minimizing, telling half-truths, and breaking your promises? Please face the truth. Take responsibility for what you feel, say, and do. It is liberating. Yet it might be difficult to achieve. But you no longer need to cover up mistakes or pretend you're perfect. So it's well worth the effort. Your higher power is on your side. Now is the time to find out who you really are. Insights will come as we are ready to receive them. So it may be initially painful, but remember, our higher power never gives us more than we can handle. Now, take a look at resentments. Holding on to resentments makes spiritual progress so difficult to achieve. So I'd like you to make up a grudge list. That's right, a grudge list, Grudge, and divide it into 4 columns. In the first column, write down the name of the person that you have a grudge against and what you resent about them. Column 2 is list the behavior that you resent. Column 3 is list how your life was affected by them. And column 4, what did you do that was wrong? Not what the other person did, but what did you do that was wrong? And let's take a look at false pride. That's self-centeredness, grandiosity. It's self-will gone crazy. It's when you're bragging, you're constructing a false image of yourself. You want to be the center of attention, having to be right all the time, knowing it all, or not willing to admit when we're wrong. Now, we'll look at character flaws next. The character defect that contributes to a situation, such as anger, dishonesty, the narcissism that we talked about in the second case of false pride. In the first case, that passivity, hoping that somebody is going to rescue them. In this column, we're looking for our own mistakes. Am I too dependent? Do I have false pride? Do I have a lot of hubris? Am I too determined that I can do it by willpower alone? I want you to look at your own mistakes and not actually, the tendency is to kind of look at other people's mistakes. And that we won't do that here. I just want you to concentrate on your own. And this is your own character flaws. So now we're coming to almost the end here. And this is a fun part where you can list your assets, the qualities you would like to keep within yourself, and your liabilities, the qualities you can throw away. This gives us some objectivity because we have a balance now. It's not all character defects. We have a lot of good assets here too. And once we have a complete willingness to take this inventory and exert ourselves to do the job thoroughly, there's a wonderful light that falls upon a foggy scene. A brand new kind of confidence is born, and we feel this relief because we are finally facing ourselves. This is the fruit of step 4. Kathleen?
Thank you, Marilyn, for all that insightful information. Very helpful.
Oh.
So I'm really excited. I'm very excited to share these vegan peanut butter cookies with you because I love sharing vegan desserts. They're so easy once you know the tricks, how to sub out the eggs and the dairy. So we're going to start by using a flax egg. This recipe is by Blissful Basil, and we'll put a link to it when we're done here. And it actually doesn't even ask for a flaxseed egg. I'm adding it because I've tried it both ways, with and without, and I just felt like they stuck together a little better. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do the flax egg. So this is just flaxseed from the bin at the health food store, and I keep it in the refrigerator. And then you can grind it up in your Vitamix or a coffee grinder. And so you've got omega-3s in there and no cholesterol from eggs. Eggs have the highest amount of cholesterol of any food, so you want to eliminate them out of your diet. So we have 1 tablespoon of flax seed ground up. You can also buy ground flax meal already from Bob's Red Mill. And then we're going to add 3 tablespoons of filtered water. And that's going to be our egg. And then just stir it up. So do that first and just let it sit here for a few minutes. It'll start to gel, and that will act as your binder. If you, for any reason, are sensitive to flax, Bob's Red Mill also has a ready-made vegan egg from potato starch, tapioca flour, and baking soda. And you can do that instead. And again, you can try it without the flax egg at all, like the recipe says. Just let them really cool on the rack before you scoop them up if you don't use the egg, all right? So we're going to let that solidify and move on to our major ingredient, which is peanut butter. And I buy this organic peanut butter, so no sugar added, from Kirkland, Costco brand. And it comes in a 2-pack. And you're going to start with a cup of the peanut butter and put it in your large mixing bowl. Okay. Peanut butter has a lot of protein. It's got some plant fat, which in this recipe, you don't need any vegan butter or any no earth balance, because the peanut butter acts as the butter, basically. And then we're going to add a cup of brown sugar. So everything's good with peanut butter and brown sugar. And I buy this Simple Truth organic brand from Kroger. It's organic brown sugar. And so you're going to start with those 2 ingredients. I'll just have her zoom in here if that's possible. And we're going to blend these 2 ingredients together. So hold your ears here. Then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and we'll beat it again. Vanilla is really in almost all my cookies, it seems like. That great flavor. So just 2 teaspoons. Let's blend it again. So those are the wet ingredients, and we're going to add the vegan egg in just a minute. And let me just get some of this off the beaters. All right, now we're going to move on to our dry ingredients. So the recipe calls for Bob oat flour, and you can make your own oat flour. You could use some, I buy these organic gluten-free oats from Trader Joe's, and you can blend them in your blender or Vitamix and make your own oat flour. Or again, Bob's Red Mill, you can buy ready-made oat flour. I'm using one of his all-purpose gluten-free baking flours. I pretty much use this for everything, and it works, just in case you can't do oats or you can't find it. So we're going to start with 2/3 cup of oat flour. All right. And then I'm going to move this out of the way so you can see a little better. Then we're going to add in our baking soda. So not baking soda, excuse me, not baking powder, baking soda. 1 teaspoon baking soda, and that will help it rise. And then just 1/8 of a teaspoon of sea salt. That real quick. All right. And then I just stir those together. And we're going to add that to our wet ingredients. So it's very, very easy. And these are so delicious. I'm so grateful to have a good vegan peanut butter cookie recipe, because I haven't really tried that in all my years of being vegan.
Well, so, you know, I just noticed, Kathleen, that there were so many responses to this recipe. I think there were over 100. Oh, my printer got tired of printing out everything.
That's exciting. And I should have said, if you can't do peanuts, which is common, you could do almond butter. And if you can't do nuts, you could use sunflower seed butter, if you can do seeds. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give our little vegan egg a swirl. You can see that it's gotten a little bit more gel-like. And again, you don't have to use the vegan egg. They'll just be a little looser, okay? So I'm gonna give this another spin here. That peanut butter, the brown sugar, the vanilla, and the flax egg. Now we're gonna add in the oat flour, baking soda, and salt. And that's gonna be it. Excuse me. A lot going on here. Okay. And I should have said, by the way, welcome to my beach kitchen in Encinitas. It's not the biggest, it's got a lot of heart and soul. We've done a lot of vegan cooking in here, my husband and I. These together. And then I forgot one thing. I can add a little bit of plant milk, and I'm going to use cashew, and I'm going to do 1/4 of a cup. All right, and you may need less, and you may need more, and that's cashew milk. Almond milk, favorite plant milk. That will help these dry ingredients. Fine. All right, and one of the fun things about vegan cooking dough is that you can eat it, right? You don't have to worry about salmonella. We're actually in Encinitas in North County, San Diego. They're opening a vegan cookie dough shop, like you would a yogurt shop. So you go in and pick out your cookie dough with toppings. It's going to be the first one in the country opening up here this summer. So that'll be fun. All right. So let's get all that off. Hopefully you can see how that all came together. I could probably give it another little stir, but I think that's good. Now you get out your tray. And sorry, you would never believe that this tray was new less than a year ago. And the silicone mat, which I love because you don't have to use parchment paper. This is from Bed Bath & Beyond, but I use it all the time, as you can tell. So I just use my tablespoon as a measuring to make the little balls, and sometimes I add a little extra. This will make about 15 to 16 cookies. They're not real big. I'll show you here in a minute. But, you know, just a little ball. And then you can take your fork and make the traditional fork mark in them. Okay? And I won't make you sit here through all of them, but we'll do another one. Marilyn, you're going to love these cookies. They're so good.
They're my favorite cookie. I love them.
You're going to have to hide them.
my mouth is watering already.
My husband's face when he took his first bite was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I know. I just save me one.
So I won't make you do it, but you got the right idea. So I've warmed up the oven at 350. That's been going on. And then you're going to bake them for 8 to 10 minutes. And voila. That is what they look like. And they are super soft and delicious. Definitely keep an eye on them so you don't overdo them. So you could start at 8 minutes, see how they are. And if they need a little more, just give it like 1 or 2. But don't go get on the computer or something because then they'll be extra crispy instead of soft and tender. So I hope you enjoy them. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, for saving animals, food choices.
Wow. Thanks so much, Kathleen, for showing us how to make the softest and most tender vegan peanut butter cookies ever. I'm just reading you the spiel that was on the website. I thought it was cute. But anyway, to get a little bit more serious now, I'd like to give you this month's homework. But first, I want to tell you about something that to make this easier, this is a very large step, the step 4. And remember, it's fearless and thorough and searching inventory. And I have some some charts that will guide you through this. And if you would like that, please send me a little note and I will email you these charts so you can make your inventory process go a lot faster and more thorough. Also, we are at Carnivores Anonymous. You know, we're starting a new group in Berkeley, California in early May, and we've been having a group here in Woodland Hills, but we're starting to expand across the country. So for anyone who's actually interested in joining a Carnivores Anonymous group somewhere, doesn't matter where, even if we're not there now, we'll be there to meet you. And if you want to lead a group and you are vegan and you have some experience, we will do the training for you. So please please contact me at carnivoresanonymous.org. And but anyway, back to your homework. So we're going to do a fearless and thorough inventory. I want you to list your resentments, your fears, false pride. You know, there's a whole bunch of things. So just for now, it's mostly resentment and fears, but we can get into more detail once you get the charts. Also list the people you've harmed and the behaviors that cause the harm. Meanwhile, ignore the other person's role, what they did to you. Concentrate solely on yourself, on your role. Remember to list everything, even those things you'd rather keep hidden. Let me just turn this one off. Even list what you fear that you find if you were to look into yourself. Yeah, that keeps us from searching and keeps us away from our happiness too. Then I'd like you to take that inventory list and put it in a good hiding place because we want to keep it private. And you can discuss it with your sponsor. And but we're really waiting for the fifth step where we're going to reveal our inventory to another person. That's a very important step. Well, if you've tried today's recipe, these delicious vegan peanut butter cookies, let me know how you like them on Carnivores Anonymous Facebook page. Special thanks to everyone for joining in. Please join us for our next show on the third Thursday of every month at 6 p.m. or watch the replay later. Well, thank you so much, Kathleen, Chef Kathleen. Goodbye for now, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Great.